Hey guys, the San Francisco Police Department was able to capture one of the car thieves pictured in YouTuber Mark Rober's video last month. Car thief gets instant karma. However, this case spotlights some of the problems that exist with crime in the judiciary system in San Francisco. Let's take a look at some excerpts from the local news station ABC 7 to see the highlights of what happened.
We have new information about this viral video pranking San Francisco's car burglars. It turns out one of the men caught on hidden camera got arrested by police that same day and charged with breaking into 3 cars in a separate incident.
I-Team reporter Dan Noyes worked on that viral video with YouTube star Mark Rober and is continuing to follow leads and joins us now with the latest. This is kind of a wild story.
It is. Well, Larry and Dion, I consulted on that video, and in this case, I ran the guy's plates. Turns out he used his own car driving to various break-ins, and I found there's 2 criminal cases now underway that raise questions about how well the courts address these crimes.
There's a lot in that statement already, but Dan Noyes has done an excellent job covering this case. And to not take any shot from his video or YouTuber Mark Rober's video, I'm going to skip ahead some, but I did want to highlight a very key aspect. The police department did arrest the gentleman. How did they arrest him? Mark Noyes identified him by his car license plate. It turns out that many of the car thieves that were caught in the video didn't use their own license plate or their own car. So either they didn't have a license plate at all, or they had a stolen plate, or either they have a stolen car, which made it very difficult for the police and even Dan Noyes to identify who they were. But this one person used his own vehicle.
But in one case, the suspect used his own car with his own license plates. And that's how I found 30-year-old Charvel Augustine of San Francisco. On October 12th, a Thursday evening, he spots one of Mark Rober's Bay cars on Bay Street near the Embarcadero, sees traffic coming, so he gets back in. When it's finally clear, he emerges and strikes. The backpack that Rober built sends a text that it's been stolen. The onboard cameras catch Augustine going through the bag. A minute later comes the message, fart spray cannon fired. You can hear the servo motor. No audible reaction from Augustine, but he throws the bag out the window. A little over an hour later, Charvel Augustine has made his way to the Palace of Fine Arts and another of Rober's Bay cars. From 4 different angles, you see him break into the car and take the backpack. Once I ran his plate and found his information, I checked San Francisco Superior Court records. Get this. After he failed to appear in a car burglary case from July, a judge issued a $35,000 bench warrant for Augustine's arrest. The charges? Second-degree burglary of vehicle and possession of burglar tools, what's meant to be a legitimate car escape tool.
This is the upsetting thing. So what we hear in this report is that this gentleman was arrested because they believe he committed 3 other break-ins that night. We have him on camera, or Mark Rober does, committing 2 other break-ins. That brings his count to 5 break-ins. Now, the unbelievable thing is that the judge had issued a warrant for him prior to that, a bench warrant for $35,000. And I think that was a good move.
In that case, police say they recovered U.S., Indian, and Euro currency from Augustine's car, jewelry, and a baggie, watches, and more. In his criminal complaint, prosecutors cited 3 circumstances in aggravation: great monetary value, violent conduct, which indicates a serious danger to society, and prior convictions. But in a hearing October 9th, Judge Loretta Georgi described the case, quote, looks like it would be easily settleable. She dropped the bench warrant and allowed Augustine to leave OR on his own recognizance. 3 days later, Mark Rober's hidden cameras caught him breaking into those 2 cars. That same day, court records show the plainclothes officers out of Central Station shot their own video of Augustine smashing another car window and connected him to 2 more break-ins, all rental cars. Police had to use a spike strip to keep him from fleeing in that same car with the same license plate we spotted.
Okay, This is a lot. All right, so I'm trying to get this straight too with you, because I did watch it, but it appears that, so we got this guy, right? He's in court for 2 other break-ins. And you're like, no, you know what? Let's let him out on his own recognizance. So then we get the 5 break-in day until they pick him back up. But here's the thing. Should he be on the streets? Now, I'm with you. I don't want to incarcerate people for no reason, but obviously being currently in a court case did not stop him from committing further crimes. And I don't know if there's a problem here with the application of the law or the law itself, but it seems to me if you're releasing your own recognizance, the next time you walk in that courtroom, you should be arrested and put in jail without any bond or bail. But let's get back to it.
Augustine's latest car burglary charges include an allegation of felony committed while on bail.
You would have thought this sort of thing doesn't happen, but in fact it does.
Frank Noto of the grassroots campaign Stop Crime SF tells me defendants released while waiting for a trial often commit other crimes, and that since the start of last year, the SFPD made 468 felony arrests of suspects who had been freed from custody.
That's very interesting.
Trial.
So, first off, I'm glad they have a charge for people committing crimes when they're on bail, because my gosh, you need more time for that. The second thing, though, is very interesting. So we have 468 people who've been released who were then rearrested for committing more crimes. Now, are they habitual criminals like this gentleman? Now, I don't know about his previous history, but I can say in this case, if he's already in court for one set of car thefts and during being out, he decided he should rob 5 others, then who knows how many he's actually responsible for. Those are the 5 they caught him. Unless they caught him on everything he did that night. What about the night before? What about, because it was 3 days. What about the other 2 days? Was he committing crime then? These are really good questions, but a better question would be, how can we expect the police to just keep arresting people over and over and over and over? If it's the same people committing crimes, those people should be in jail. But let's see what else happens in this case.
That's just crazy. The judges are showing poor judgment there. They're saying this criminal is not going to commit a crime, at least not pending trial, but they're dead wrong.
I've been attending Charbel Augustine's court hearings. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. When I approached him, he declined to comment. But do those designer jeans look familiar? His deputy public defender, Bal Dewan, also declined to be interviewed, but emailed me that Augustine is loving and kind and that he takes care of his sick grandmother. She added, incarceration does not solve poverty or deter auto burglaries.
All right. I wanted to pause it right there while it was still on screen. So let's attack this narrative, this untrue narrative by the public defender, Daiwan. So number one, you are supposed to represent your client as a public defender, but you should do so with dignity, honesty, and truthfulness, right? So she's making a very definite policy statement that incarceration does not solve poverty. It's not meant to solve poverty. It's meant to solve victimhood. It's meant to solve crime. It's meant to keep crime low and to lessen the chance of people dying in violent death. That's the point of incarceration. Incarceration was not meant to solve poverty. We're going to get back to that. So in and of itself, that statement is true. Or deter auto burglaries. Well, ma'am, read the room, as they say. Read the room. Your client could have been incarcerated during his other court case. During that time, he committed 5 car burglaries, which landed you back in court with him. Now, this is a very interesting case, because wouldn't those 5 car burglaries not exist if this defendant had been incarcerated? So, Ms. Daiwan, I believe that you are terribly mistaken. Now let's deal with the premise or the implication. You're implying that the reason for car break-ins is poverty. And I'm going to tell you that's offensive to poor people. All right? The reason for car burglaries is low morality. The excuse for car burglary that you are giving is poverty. People can be poor and not thieves. People can be poor and not criminals. People can be poor and not steal from their neighbor. And if you use that as an excuse, then aren't you part of the problem that's keeping this system going this way? So I would ask that whether you're the district attorney, you're the public defender, or you're a normal person, that in your doing your duty as a public official, you're doing so with truthfulness and integrity. And this statement has neither. This statement is some slogan that you found on a t-shirt, and I think you can do better than that. But let's finish over.
District Attorney Brooke Jenkins disagrees, her office telling me that incarceration can be a deterrent to criminals committing more crime. I'll keep track of Augustine's cases as they move forward.
Okay, lovely. The district attorney hit it on the nail. Incarceration is a deterrent to crime. But the reality is that this is a very complex problem. So on one hand, you have the police out there arresting him. Now, I don't know when he's going to be charged for the other two that he committed on the video that you and I watched. And I know he's presumed to be innocent until proven guilty in the other three. But here's the reality. The reality is that this system, the police are arresting them, and then they're going to court, and the judge is like, now you have to remember, like, there's so many steps. So the police arrest him, and the district attorney say, yes, let's go ahead and charge him. Let's see this case through. So the district attorney is charging them. And now you have the judiciary releasing criminals back into the street who, now I'm going to admit, this isn't necessarily a violent crime. It can be a violent crime. But the reality is, if you're a habitual criminal, we should be locking you up just to deter crime. So thank you for your time today. Let's look into this a little bit further. I'll try to find some more interesting news stories and events that happen in San Francisco and the Bay Area to spotlight the effects that crime is having here in California and some of the solutions that we may be able to discuss here. Please, hey, if you have a moment, please shoot me a comment. Let me know what you think about what's going on here in California. Have a great day.